Joey here as a critical Missourian, where I talk about everyday life and about Missouri and beyond. Okay, one thing I'm just going to run through that I've noticed is, in the last 30 years, there's been more controversy in education than there has been since the big controversy during the creationism versus evolutionary debate about whether schools should be teaching evolution or not, or creationism. And it's just like, here in the last 30 years, it's just almost as controversial. I'm almost surprised. We're starting off with a lot with school shootings. That was not a thing when I was growing up. When I was in school, we didn't have to worry about all this stuff. But then again, I'm not going to defend the actions of the people that are doing that. But on the other end, a lot of school administrators didn't take bullying as quite as serious as they probably do now. Or at least I hope they're taking it with a lot more weight. And it's just unfathomable how in the world we end up in this state of affairs. Everyone says it's because of moral decay. No. Not all. Not really. I don't know. I just haven't much words to say about that. Except there's a lot of kids out there that are probably suffering from mental disorders and a lot of other things that are just not being detected or passing through, or facing adult level crisis on a very much younger scale. It's hard to say. A lot of times, a lot of the school shootings I've seen over the years is because a lot of these kids were pushed too far. Because they've been bullied and put down, made fun of. It's like everyone thinks teasing other kids is all good and great, but they don't really realize that their actions can be very harmful, especially when some of the kids are mentally vulnerable. But anyhow, that's just, I'm just stating of observation and through my own experiences when I was in school, because I too didn't have a great time in school at all. But that's a lot. But yeah, moving on to the next thing, and moving to a more recent deal where you got this Common Core crap, where everyone thought it was a grand idea to scrap the old basic way of teaching things for a curriculum that was pulled out of a hat. After I did my digging, the whole point The only point of Common Core was actually to produce mindless workers who would just fit on a factory line. It wasn't there for any other purpose. I mean, they claim that it was supposed to get kids to really be able to do thinking for themselves, critical thinking and all that. But you could have fostered it in a different way. I know that now, a lot of schools have abandoned that path and moved on. Then the next thing is we start seeing the creep of computers being seen in the classroom, taking the place of textbooks. And then you start seeing like the abandonment of you also seen the abandonment of handwriting in school and all that. And then you have to see, then you get to see the fact that there's a lot of cheating being done with the computers using AI. And then there's the thing with where now schools are now talking about abandoning these computers that they spent thousands of dollars on and going back to the old way of doing, like when I was in school, books on the table, pen and paper right at your and then there was the thing, there's also the controversy whether, and then there's the whether kids should have homework or not. All this stuff has become more controversy only in the last 30 years. And it's just mind-boggling. How did we get to this state? How did we get to this state of affairs? We have no, it's like the thing with the with bringing computers to replace books. They were supposed to make things easier and more able to turn in. I don't know. I wasn't a kid growing up in this time period, but I'm just taking educated guesses here. But I think and seeing what my son does, they always had to do their schoolwork and then turn it in online and all that. But like I said, with the generative AI now, a lot of kids were figuring out how to cheat and everything, and that people started catching on to that because many kids were coming in the same answers. So that's become, a back and forth controversy why we need it and why we don't. Some administrators were glad to get rid of the textbooks because now, whenever the textbooks get old, they can always replace it with a digital version. But then you still have the expense of all computers. Now, and I'm just thinking like, now they're wanting to go. Now they're talking about moving away from the computers and going back to to the class, back to the handwriting and textbooks. It's like I said earlier, that's a lot of money that we taxpayers are seeing going up in smoke, because we have to pay for the school tax every year, and y'all doing this nonsense. You do one thing and then turn around and do something opposite. I mean, that's just, I'm just at a loss here. The education system we have is really bonkers now, because one person decides they want to do things one way, then they change it back to another way, then back one way and then another way. It's like, I don't know. We have more controversies now than we have then. Because when I was in school and when I was going to school, there was not very much controversy there. I mean, but as we said, this is what the world we live in now. Do we move toward a digital age, or do we not? Are we vulnerable? Are our kids vulnerable to one form, to being left behind, or not? Do they set them up to be a cheater or be honest? Does it help with them or not? I mean, there was another controversy I was just reading, like, on the homework thing. It's like, one person said that giving kids homework all the time is stressing them out. And another saying that the point is moot. I mean, my honest thought is that it's hard to judge. Schoolwork should be mainly, as far as my concern, schoolwork should remain in school, and home time should be for home, for the family, not spending all night scribbling at a piece of paper. That's just my honest take on the matter, but who knows? I do know that there's times that every time a homework assignment was assigned to me and it was brought home, I didn't. There was always a subject on there that I didn't know what to do, how to do it, or anything. And every time I asked my mother, I'm trying to politely put this, but her education background is a little limited, but she could not help me with some of the things that I was dealing with in school, and in certain subjects, because she was not really. She really didn't get to dwell in some of those subjects, or it was just above and beyond her level. So, the question would be, if you're having a problem with the homework, who do you go to? Usually it's best if this was dealt with in class with a teacher. They could probably explain certain subjects a little better than a parent. I give the generational gap here a break, because when I was in school, We didn't have the internet. That was not the thing. That wasn't the thing then. Nowadays we have the internet. People, kids can go research this, that, and another online. Try to get some more help that way. There are other resources. Sometimes when they really need someone to explain something verbally, again, our parents may not be able to do that. So, and this, like I said, the thing about it stressing the kids out, yes, I can see where that could be a big stress out. Now, because it's like school, no time to themselves, and then it's like us at work. On the subject, we adults on the subject of work, as soon as we clock out, head out the door, we don't want to talk about work. We don't want to know about work. We don't want to hear about work. That stays at the office. When we clock out, it's me time. I don't want to hear about anything and everything else that's going on up there. And if you translate that to a child, they're going to feel the same exact way you do. And you got to put your view, like the same views that I pointed out, in their shoes, and see how they perceive it. But like I said, the stress factor I can see. I'm just saying. I'm trying to see both sides of this perspective here, but I see from the kids' perspective, because they're not given. I mean, they're kind of barraged all the time because they have to be working on something at school, then working at something at home, and then they're got zero time for themselves. But on the other side is to give them, the educators would probably say, is to give them more time to study and to think about things and everything that they've learned in class. Fair. But where do you come to a middle ground? This is where it's becoming a battleground, because just on the subject of homework alone, like I said, there was the other battleground between computers, AI, and the fact that now the return to books, pencils, and paper. So, yeah. I'm just saying, and the thing that it's just a big, there's just so many big changes in the last 30 years. And it just, like I said, it's more than what, it's just mind-boggling altogether. So, anyhow, I just wanted to point some things out and just discuss these things, because there's just so much that has happened, and that we are still like navigating down a channel that we have never traveled before, or in some cases it feels like we're traveling down a narrow channel without even paddles, and we're just aimlessly going everywhere. But anyhow, that's just my thoughts on the matter. I mean, everyone can make their own conclusions, but I still think seriously that we have the most tumultuous period in the education field than what we have since the time of the early 1900s. So, anyhow, this is a Critical Missourian. I'll see you on the next video.